One.
Yeah, so what you've got is 9C40 U-boat, 76 metres long. You can see it's 37mm gun, it's two 20mm flat guns and a snorkel. The snorkel was put on in 1944 to allow the boat to travel underwater.
What's this here?
That's the flagstaff for that particular flag, which should have been on the end of what they call the winter garden. Winter garden there?
Yep, on the top there.
Yeah, so that's its original flagstaff. Because the flagstaff itself, of course, was demountable. We'd take it off when
and that's a full-scale model of U534?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Alright. Okay, that's when the U-boat was raised in 1993 off the Kattegat, and there were, on the barge, there were 8 members of U534, as well as 4 members of Liberator G for George, the Liberator that sunk it in 1945 on the 5th of May. What you can see here is the anti-aircraft gun, the spare barrels of the 37mm gun. So they had all the spare gear on board for a long sea voyage. So you'd have not only the food and the provisions and everything, but armaments, as well as 22 torpedoes, one of which we've got outside.
Right.
We start off with the keel being laid on the 20th of February 1942, about a 6 to 8 month program to build it. What you can see there is the hoops for the pressure hull.
Yep.
The pressure hull is about 1 inch thick U-boat steel. It was launched on the 23rd of September 1942, and Captain Herbert Nollau would have then have joined it when it was commissioned on the 23rd of December 1942.
He was only young then, obviously.
Yeah, well, Nollau himself was the first officer on U505, when U505 was its sister vessel in Chicago. So Nollau was already an experienced officer when he got his first command. And what the Kriegsmarine did when they were shaking down the crews to make sure that the crews were okay for war footing, they put a half of the crew would be fully sort of war hardened veterans, and half would be novices, if you like, and then they mixed them up. And then before they went into service, they did a lot of training in the Baltic. And before that, they used to do a lot of training on square riggers, like the tall ships that we've seen here. Right. One of which being the Gorschfock, the Golden Eagle.
So the two of the 4 U-boats still around in the world, Nollau was on both?
Nollau was on both, yeah.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, but Nollau would never say what his orders were at the end of the war, and he committed suicide, so nobody knows what he was doing. So this gives you the 3 war patrols of U534. It spent a total of 160 days at sea, but mainly doing weather reports. And it was the last boat out of Germany in 1945.
Do we know what its purpose was when it was leaving?
No, we don't. And this is a really interesting story as well. 25th of October 1944, U534 was fitted with a snorkel. The snorkel would allow the diesel engines to operate while the boat was underwater. The first time they used it, 20 tons of water came into the vessel because it malfunctioned. And it took them 5 hours to get to the surface. And when they got to the surface, they were attacked by a Wellington, and they shot the Wellington down. And there's a whole story behind that Wellington as well. There were 5 survivors, one of which stayed in the water all the time. He wouldn't go into the lifeboat with these other crew members, and he died in the water. He was awarded the Military Cross for doing that. There's a whole story about the Wellington as well. These guys on board were probably some of the best shots in the Kriegsmarine, so they were really good at what they were doing.
And these are the actual, what we've got above us here, these are the actual guns?
The spare barrels from the
they were the spares? Yeah.
The armament of this particular U-boat is one 37mm gun, doing that, and 2 20mm guns, which are in here.
Right.
Yeah. So that gives you the full story up until 1986, when it was discovered by Arg Jensen, and then 1993 when it was raised and then brought to the Historic Warships Museum in Bergen Head, which folded in 2006. and that's when our involvement really starts.
And how does it fit into Mersey ferries?
Well, basically what it does is that if you take our whole strategy to move into the tourism economy, we've got spaceport at Seacombe, best one in the world, it's half a day. We've got the extension of the Beatles story at Pierhead, best one in the world, that's going to be a couple of hours, and this is going to be a couple of hours with a restaurant attached as Seacombe, and Pierhead will have. But stitch it all together and you've got a full day out. You've got a full day out on a ferry, and that's what it's all about.
And that was a conscious decision to move it away from?
This was very much a conscious decision, because in 1934, when the first tunnel was opened, the first Mersey tunnel, the ferries were carrying 40 million people a year, which is more than the trains carry today. Therefore, the whole point of this is to increase patronage, because current patronage is about 700,000. So without this, we'd be difficult.
So what's the investment programme then?
The investment programme's been investing in all three vessels, which are totally refurbished, investing in the Pierhead, new 10 million terminal, here, new 5 million terminal with the U-boat, spaceport, again, another 10 million investment, all of probably about 60, 70 million.